Hi there and welcome. My name is Jason, and what I have to share with you right now is a plant called Ceanothus Blue Ray. So Blue Ray is the variety. This actually is a California native hybrid of hybrids. So this is a hybrid of Ceanothus Dark Star and Ceanothus Ray Hartman. And this is an awesome plant in the landscape. And so I'm going to share some care info with you about this plant. So as far as choosing a location for your plant, as far as the lighting goes, you can plant this anywhere from full sun to part sun. As far as the watering needs, this is a very drought tolerant plant. So when you first plant your plant, you'll want to plant it in either the fall or the spring. You're going to want to water it minimally, like as a drought tolerant plant, but get it watered in and established, and then, you'll come into the next year, with still some of that, intermittent drought tolerant watering. The next year, so your third year, based on where you live, it could be variable as far as that timing, but ultimately you're going to end up hardening off your ceanothus and it will be self-sufficient as far as watering goes in the summer, but yeah, watering like minimally, in the fall and winter and spring, that's, one thing, but eventually this plant becomes totally self-reliant. You don't really need to take care of it at all. You can just leave it wherever it is in the garden and it'll do its thing. If you get a really, really dry winter, you might want to water it, but ultimately this becomes a very self-sufficient plant. You can water it periodically in the summer. If it's really, really hot, this plant will accept the water, but just know that it's very tough. Under most circumstances, you don't necessarily need to water it once it's very established. As far as the fertilization goes, you don't need to fertilize this plant, so know that you don't need to fertilize it. The closest thing I would do to that is giving it a side mulch in the fall. And so that's something that will benefit this plant. As far as the soil pH, this plant will grow in an adaptable number of different soil pHs, anywhere from acidic to neutral to alkaline, so it's adaptable when it comes to that. As far as the soil choice, when you plant your plant, you want to plant it in anywhere from loam to sand. You can plant it in clay. It might struggle in clay. I wouldn't say that that's the best choice soil for this plant, but if you did plant this in clay soil, I'd recommend really amending that clay soil and planting it on a slope or incline so that the water doesn't pool and just set at the base of the plant. Also make sure that when you plant your plant that the crown is maybe like an inch or two above the soil level, because over time it will sink. And just know that's like a good rule of thumb too. And also when you do your side mulch, make sure not to mulch on the trunk of your plant. As far as the always mulch like away from the trunk. As far as the size of this plant, it grows to about 10 feet tall and 15 feet wide. It makes an awesome screen edge. It's a great xeric drought tolerant garden plant. It's good for privacy. It's good for the blooms. It puts on these beautiful blue blooms in the late winter and early spring. They're just finishing up now, darn it. It's already gonna go to like fruit and then seed. But so there it is. These beautiful these greens the foliage is very pretty. But yeah, it becomes a relatively dense plant. So that's why it's a good screen plant. As far as the cold hardiness, this plant is cold hardy down to 15 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's very cold hardy. But yeah, and as far as fun facts, this plant attracts bees, butterflies, native pollinators. This plant is very good for that because it is a California native, even though it's a hybrid of California natives. But yeah, it's a pretty fun plant. This is Ceanothus Blue Ray, and my name is Jason. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. And once again, thanks so much for hanging out.